thing, right? But the levity, yeah, okay. What? Drollery. What does that mean? Drollery. For what is it? For what we've got. Maishi said drollery. If anyone knows what that means, I think you might have made it up. Oh, she's playing Scrabble. Oh, yeah. All right. It's quiet. All right, we'll say good morning. Let's begin today's daf is Yud Ches. A lot to do today. Our shir this morning, Baruch Hashem, we have a number of sponsors. Our shir this morning is dedicated by Maish and Devorah Werdesheim in commemoration of the yahrzeit of Devorah's father, Lu Shah, Aryeh Leib ben Yosef. We hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah, the Neshama will have an aliyah and the family ein nechama. The week of learning is dedicated by Meir and Shani Cohn, as a zechus for Refuah for Kol Cholei Yisrael, Ayal and Sarah Steinberg for Refuah Shlema for Shulamis Bas Susha. We hope that on the merit of the sponsorships, Kol Cholei Yisrael have a complete and enduring Refuah. And I will say the shiurim this month, Talmud Torah sponsorship, Yonah and Shashi Ehrenfeld, in memory of Yonah's grandfather, Joseph Ehrenfeld, Yosef ben Shmuel Aaron. We hope that on the merit of our Talmud Torah, the Neshama will have an aliyah and the family ein nechama. And I will say with that, let us begin. So today's daf is Yud Ches 18. We are picking up on the bottom of Yud Zayin with Beis. I believe we left off 5 lines up from the bottom. Amar Mar, Tisa Uvasa. So also remember again, continuing on the conversation that we started in the Mishnah, namely the situation of Vlados, right? So the Mishnah said, these are the karbanos, these are the offerings, whose offspring and their Temurahs have the same status as them, ad sof kala olam, until the end of time. The Mishnah here identified that we're referring specifically to shlamim, right? So apparently when it comes to shlamim, although we're going to see that this position is disputed in the very next Mishnah, but when it comes ultimately to shlamim, the halacha is the offspring of shlamim are like shlamim. The Temurah of shlamim are like shlamim. Ultimately, again, any shlamim derivative had the very status of shlamim. So the Gemara said, Amamar, Tiso Basa, continuing from the drasha from yesterday, Tiso Basa Yachol Yachnisenu Lebeisa Bechira. So you might have thought again in the cases referenced yesterday that halacha l'maisa should have to take the animal to the Beis Hamikdash and let it and starve it there. Don't feed the animal, let the animal die. To which the Gemara says, Minat tisiha. Where would you even come up with this? Kevan de kamri chamesh chatos. Since we have a principle that there are only 5 chatos offerings which are left to die, hanach mikrav krivi. Then ultimately, we'll say what it means to us is any carbon that is not one of the 5 chatos, by definition, is what can be offered up. Maudatema. What would I have thought? Chamesh chatos mesos b'chol makom. I might have thought maybe the din of 5 chatos says that those 5 chatos could be put to death or could be allowed to die anywhere. But maybe v'hanach, these karbanos being referenced over here, yamusu bebeis habechira. Ultimately, again, should dafka be brought to the Beis Hamikdash to die. To which the Gemara says, Kamash Malon, not like that. So both say, therefore, for our purposes, what this Kamash Malon teaches us is that the Temurah of an Ola and Shlamim, and so too again, the offspring, the Vlad of an Ola and Shlamim, are in fact offered up on the Mizbeach. We'll say, so that is the conclusion that the Gemara is reaching in this moment. Again, one more time, the Temurah of an Ola and Shlamim, or the offspring of an Ola and Shlamim, can actually be offered up on the Mizbeach themselves. Amar Mar, Yachalaf Kala Kachim Kain. You might have thought that this halacha applies to all karbanos. Talmud Lomar Rak Kadoshecha. Therefore, the pasuk says only these sanctified items. To which the Gemara says, Vlad Diman. So, what kind of offspring are we talking about? Either Ola. If you want to say it's the offspring of an Ola, well, that can't be. Why not? Zacharhu. The Bible says Ola is offered of a male animal. If it's offered of a male animal, again, there's not going to be any offspring. The Gemara says Zacharhu Falav Bar Uludehu. And if you want to say it's a chatos, gemiri la de la misa kaimi. Then once you've already established that the vlad of a chatos, the offspring of a chatos, is what? Is allowed to die. So top of Yud Ches, ida asham. If you want to say we're talking about the offspring of an asham, gemiri le de la riya azla, de la raya azla. Plus we have a Mesorah already. We've already taught that when it comes to the offspring of an asham, it is put out to graze until it develops a mum, at which point in time it is redeemed. The Gemara says, because in general, again, there's a principle that any case by a chatas, where the animal is left to die, by asham, it is put out to graze. To which the Gemara says, Liolam b'chatos. In reality, ultimately, we're talking about a chatos. V'hilchasa gemirila lemisa. And about to say, ultimately, again, we have a halacha, which generally means a halacha l'Moshe misinai, that ultimately, again, the animal is left to die. So the Gemara says, so again, this is by chatos. This actually is no new information. So this is telling me that the vlad of a chatos, the offspring of a chatos, ultimately is left to die. That is a halacha l'Moshe misinai. So what does the pasuk come to teach me? To which the Gemara says, ukra l'mi'uti la'akrava. And I will say the pasuk is coming to teach me that it may not be offered up ultimately again as a carbon. To which the Gemara says, if you look at Rashi, we just actually no, not yet. So the mutak rava vaha bahatalya kevan de la misa azla memela lo karva. Gemara says, I don't understand. If you just told me that you had halacha l'Moshe misinai, that says that what? That the offspring of a chatas is left to die. Then I will say, if it's left to die, by definition, what does that mean? It's not offered up as a carbon. So understand what the Gemara just said. Halacha Moshe Messina teaches me that the offspring of a chatas is not offered up as a carbon. Is left to die. The pasuk then comes along and teaches me that it's not offered up as a carbon. Ask the Gemara, once you have halacha Moshe Messina teaches you that the carbon is that the animal is left to die, then why do I need a pasuk that teaches you that it's not offered up as a carbon? That's pretty obvious. To which the Gemara says, kevan de la misa azla. Once this animal is going to be left to die, memela lo karva. By definition, it's not going to be offered up as a carbon. Ela hilchasa lechatas. Rather, says the Gemara, the halacha we're talking about of the halacha l'Moshe misinai is talking about ultimately again a chatas. Ukra lemeute tmuras asham. And the pasuk is actually not coming to talk about chatas because the halacha l'Moshe misinai teaches me that a chatas, the vlad chatas, the offspring of a chatas is left to die and therefore not offered up. The pasuk is coming to teach me about the temurah of an asham, right? If you have an asham, which is also a type of sin offering, and you substitute that animal, the temurah of the asham is not offered up. To which the Gemara says, 1 second, hanami hilchasa gemirila. But the truth is, that's also learned out from halacha l'Moshe misinai. How so? Remember, again, I will say, the halacha l'Moshe misinai that's being referenced over here is the halacha l'Moshe misinai discusses the relationship between chatas and asham, and tells you that any case in which chatas would be left to die, asham would be put out to pasture until it develops a mum and then is redeemed. So if you're going to have a situation where the offspring of the chatas is what? Is left to die, then I will say that would tell me by an asham what happens to that animal. It's put out to pasture until it develops a mum. So I don't need a pasuk. Elakrami boile. Rather, the Gemara says, no, I still need a pasuk. Why? The avar umakriv kaibase. So was therefore to teach me halacha l'maisa that if I were to go ahead and offer up this asham, right? If I were to offer up this asham, I would be in violation of an assay. Okay, so we'll say. So what we're coming out over here with is as follows. So first of all, again, I will say what we begin to see is that in general, we already saw this a couple of days ago. The vlad, the offspring of a chatas, is left to die, right? That we've seen. Any case in a chatas that's left to die, the asham is put out to graze. It appears otherwise that right now where we're holding, again, is going to be subject to dispute in the next Mishnah, but for now, the Temurah and the offspring of an Ola as well as Shlamim is offered up on the Mizbeach, right? Is sacrificially fit. That's what we're holding right now. So that's your panoramic view of our Kabbanos right now. Offspring of a Chatas left to die, offspring of an Asham put out to graze, and by the way, offspring and Temurah generally are somewhat, usually treated the same way. Offspring and Temurah of a Shlomim and an Ola actually could have carbonic sanctity and is offered up. Okay, says the Gemara, Rabbi Kiva Omer Eno Tzarich, Hu Kra Ve'in Temurah So Kreva. So both Rabbi Akiva, remember Rabbi Akiva said in the Brisa over here, Rabbi Akiva says, I'm going to quote you. Right. Rabbi Akiva Omer Eino Tzarach Harei Omer Asham Hu Asham Lasham Hu Karav Vein Temurah So Krevas. Rabbi Akiva has a different drasha by Asham, right? Rabbi Akiva doesn't disagree on the halacha, he just disagrees on the drasha. So he says ultimately the positive Asham Hu, it is in Asham. It is in Asham teaches me that what? According to Rabbi Akiva, only the animal originally designated as an Asham is offered up as an Asham, but either the offspring of the Asham or the Temurah of the Asham does not have Asham sanctity. Good. To which the Gemara says, Lama Likra, but I don't understand, why do I need a pasuk to teach me that the Temurah of an Asham is not offered up? Both say, what did we just say a few lines above? There's a halacha l'Moshe Misinai by an Asham. So both say, just again, so you're clear, there seems to be a halacha l'Moshe Misinai. Not there seems to be. There is a halacha l'Moshe Misinai, both by Chatas and by Asham. That teaches me that it is only the original Chatas, only the original Asham animals which are offered up as a karban. Any either Temurah or offspring of those original sacrificial animals are not offered up. So Rabbi Akiva comes along and he wants to say, the pasuk says Asham, whereas Rabbi Akiva darshans to mean only the original Asham animal can be offered up as a karban, the offspring or the Temurah is not. To which the Gemara says, Rabbi Akiva, why do I need a pasuk? I have a halacha l'Moshe Misinai that teaches me that halacha. To which the Gemara says, Einachinami, you're right. Elakra lamali. So we'll say, so what, again, so if I do in fact have a halacha l'Moshe Misinai, then why do I need the pasuk? Mi baile l'chid Ravuna. I require it ultimately again because of the position of Ravuna. Dam Ravuna, Asham shenitak l'raya, v'shach tu stam, kasha l'shem ola. To teach me what Rabbi say that Ravuna said, that halacha l'maisen Asham, that was, nitak means it was set aside for grazing. Set aside for grazing. So what's the case of Asham set aside for grazing? These cases, right? This is a Temurah of an Asham, or the offspring of an Asham. I set it out to graze. V'shach tu stam. And then someone shechted its stam. What's the halacha? Kasher l'shem ola. Ultimately, again, the animal is sacrificially fit. Animal is sacrificially fit, halacha l'maisa, to be an ola. To which the Gemara says, nitak in, lo nitak lo. Now the reason this is true is because it's been set out to graze. If it hasn't been set out to graze, apparently it would not be kosher for an ola. Why not? My taima, hu b'hav yaso you. Because ultimately, again, Rav Huna will say that what Rabbi was saying, that ultimately halacha l'maisa, the offspring of the asham, or even the temurah of the asham, goes ahead and what? Maintains its asham identity. Look at Rashi. My time adamakra asham hu bav yaso yehi v'adayin asham hu v'lo chazi la'akruve asham hilchach pasal. So we'll say what the Gemara is suggesting over here is like this. Rav Huna apparently is of the opinion that when you take the temurah of the asham or the offspring of the asham, if you go ahead and you assign it to grazing, so okay, to a certain degree, it loses its asham status and can actually be transformed ultimately into an ola. But before it is assigned to grazing, halacha l'maisur Rav Huna posits that it still retains its asham identity. That Rabbi Akiva is coming along and quoting this pasuk of asham hu to teach me that what? Rav Huna, you're wrong. The asham, the offspring of the asham, or the temurah of the asham, does not maintain its identity. It is not an asham. And even though again we have a halacha l'Moshe Misinai that teaches us this halacha, nevertheless Rabbi Akiva is bringing this pasuk so as to disprove the position of Rav Huna. To which the Gemara says, Ulahai Tana Dikayalef Mahani Kroi Seipuch Le Mizacha Unikeva. And what's according to the Tana learns this out from these psukim. Why not learn it out from the phrase Zachar Unikeva? How, of course, this is part of the drush that we had yesterday. Homi Baile Livlad Ba'ali Mumin. That because that pasuk says is ultimately necessary to teach me what? The offspring of Ba'ali Mumin. Remember we saw this yesterday that halacha l'maisa, an interesting twist of events. Even if the mother is a Baal Mum, or therefore again disqualified, if she has unblemished offspring, the offspring will be fit for sacrificial purposes. So mi Baile Livlad Ba'ali Mumin, uletmuras Ba'ali Mumin. V'seifak lekule mehaikra. So why don't you learn all the drashas from this phrase, from this pasuk, to which the Gemara says, Im lo mashmale. Because I will say this Tana does not, remember everything is based on the drush of the word Im. This Tana does not darshan Im. Ulahai Tana denafkale mizachar im nekeva tisa ubasa ma'avadu. Rabbi Shmuel says Tana does not all the drashas from Zachar and Nekeva. What does he do with the phrase of tisa ubasa? To which the Gemara says, "Afilu mimarayhu lishnachrin afilu mimaragayhu," to teach me even if the animal is pasturing or even if the animal is threshing. What does that mean? Take a look at Rashi. Tiso basa afilu mimarayhu, hai tiso basa lav levlados utmuros asa. So, according to this opinion, the phrase tisa ubasa does not come to teach me anything regarding vlados, offspring, or temuros. Rather, what does it come to teach me? Ela lekachim atzman, to come azayr lo leisuye, afilu hein b'mira ba'afar v'giaz man harega lalos lo yomer eni torech acharein levakish ba'agam u'leholichan. This is actually quite an interesting drasha. So we'll say the Gemara Darshans over there. What we learn from here is as follows: once you go ahead, it will say in general, if you pledged to bring a carbon, so the halacha is you don't delay, right? You bring the carbon as quickly as possible. Now the truth is, what's your window for bringing your carbon? 3 regalim, right? You must bring it within 3 regalim. But the truth is, the real obligation to actively bring it is activated come the first regal, which makes sense. Why? Because what happens once the first regal comes? I'm going up to the Beis HaMikdash. So as I'm going up to the Beis HaMikdash, there's an inyan ultimately again of making sure to bring your karbanos. So the Gemara suggests over here as follows. Let's say I'm about to go ahead and go up to the Beis HaMikdash, and halach l'maisa again I have a carbon to bring, but my animal is out pasturing. So now I'm going to have to schlep, get the animal, find the animal, corral the animal. I say, you know what, I don't need the headache. To which the Gemara says, the Drasha teaches me over here, no, you have to go get your animal. Right? Even if there's a tircha involved, you have to go get your animal. Or the Gemara says, if the animal is threshing, I will say now, how could an animal set aside as a carbon be threshing? This would have to mean before the formal designation. I know that I'm going to take animal A, for my carbon. I have not officially designated it right yet. It happens to be threshing right now. I'm about to go up to the Beis HaMikdash for the regel. The Gemara says, don't wait till it finishes threshing. Designate it and bring it up. Okay, good. Says the Mishnah. So now here we go. But Loza says, Vlad Shlamim. So remember again, as I mentioned to you before, the Mishnah at the beginning of the parak indicated to us that the offspring of the Shlamim, the Temurah of a Shlamim, has the status of Shlamim at Sof Kol Olam. All future generations of this animal, the Shlamim animal, have the status of Shlamim. Comes along Rabbi Eliezer and he argues. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, Vlad Shlamim, Lo Yikrav Shlamim. Rabbi Eliezer says, no, the offspring of Shlamim should not be offered up as Shlamim. Offspring does not have the same status. Rashi says, what do you do with the offspring? So according to Rabbi Eliezer, what do you do with it? Lo Yikrav Shlamim, Ela Konsa Lekiba Umeis. Ultimately, again, what do you do with the offspring of a Shlamim? You put it inside, you put it into a pen, into a holding cell, and what? And you let it die. So we'll say, as we're going to see, Rabbi Eliezer's shita is a dirabanan shita. He's holding midirabanan. We go ahead and we let this animal die. Why? We'll discuss. The Chachamim say no, Yikrav. Chachamim Rabbi say echoing the sentiment espoused in the first Mishnah of the parak, and they say no, the offspring of a Shlamim has the status of Shlamim, and therefore again can be offered up. Rabbi Shimon, lo nechlaku ella al Vlad Shlamim, ve'al Vlad Temurah shelo Yikrav. So Rabbi Shimon comes along and he says like this: both Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim agree that on the Vlad, which Rabbi say means what? This is essentially now 3rd generation. It sounds like 2nd generation, it's really 3rd. Because remember, what do you have? You have the original Shlamim animal, right? We'll call that A. Shlamim animal has offspring. B, that's called Vlad. And then B has offspring, that's Vlad. So says Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim do not disagree. Lo nechleklu al Vlad. On the 3rd generation, right? The grandchild of the original Shlamim animal, that's what? Shelo Yikrav. They hold that the grandchild, again, whether it's a Temurah or whether it is an offspring, 3rd generation does not get offered up. Aman nechlaku. So what do they argue about? Ala Vlad. On the actual offspring, or the actual Temurah of the Shlamim, Rabbi Eliezer Omer lo yikrav. Rabbi Eliezer says, don't offer it. The Chachamim say yikrav. The Chachamim say you can offer it. Okay. So we'll say Rabbi Shimon coming along and framing the machlokes. Hey Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Yoshua, v'Rabbi Papayas, al Vlad Shlamim, sheyikrav Shlamim. So we'll say Rabbi Yoshua, Rabbi Papayas, both went ahead and gave testimony that they saw the offspring of a shlamim being offered up as shlamim. Okay, so we'll say that's actually pretty dramatic because eyewitness testimony always is quite amazing. So we saw the offspring of the shlamim being offered up as shlamim. Amar Rabbi Papayas, ani meid shahaisa lanu para shel zivchei shlamim. Rabbi Papayas says, I can testify about the fact that we had a para, right? We had a cow that was the offspring of shlamim. Va'achlunu bepesach, va'achlunu vlada shlamim bechag, and we ate, right? We ate the mother by Pesach, or she was our shlamim on Pesach, and we ate the offspring bechag. Now we'll say chag usually means what? Chag usually means sukkis, right? Usually it's a reference to sukkis. We'll see if it means sukkis, if it means shavuos. But again, I will say, but here you have eyewitness testimony. That's what? That the offspring of the shlamim was in fact used as a bona fide shlamim sacrifice. So we'll say, so therefore what we have over here is as follows. Just to go through again. Machlokes in the Mishnah. Rabbi Eliezer says the offspring of shlamim cannot be offered up as shlamim. Chachamim say it can be offered up as shlamim. Rabbi Shimon comes along and says, let's frame the machlokes. Right? The machlokes ultimately, again, is about the offspring of shlamim. But according to Rabbi Shimon, both agree that what? The second generation of offspring cannot be used for sacrificial purposes. And then Rabbi Shmuel Silber who say, we saw the offspring of shlamim being used for sacrificial purposes. Good. Now we analyze. I'm Rabbi Ami. I'm Rabbi Yochanan. My time to Rabbi Elazar. What is Rabbi Elazar's shita? What's his reasoning to say that the offspring of shlamim cannot be offered up as shlamim? Amar Krak, as the pasuk says, Vim zevach shlamim karbano. The pasuk says, if a zevach shlamim, for offering of shlamim, will be his karban. To which the Gemara says, ve'im v'lo vlad. So we'll say a little bit of a play on words over here. The pasuk is ve'im zevach shlamim. So the dashning as ve'im to be read as what? To be vocalized as ve'im. It is only the mother. It is only the original shlamim animal which could be offered up as a shlamim, v'lo vlad, and not the mother, and not the offspring. Im al toda yakrivena hachanami de'im v'lo vlad. So if that's the case, now that you're vocalizing im as aim, there as mother, then what? When the pasuk says by toda, im al toda, that should make the same drasha. It is only the mother toda who could be offered up, not the offspring. Maybe you'll say that indeed is the case. But we learned when it comes to a toda, the offspring, the temurah, and the exchange can all be used for a toda. Tamulomar im al toda mikamakom. So we'll say, in fact, the Gemara is just the opposite. Im al toda, the Gemara understands to be an inclusive phrase. So how is it over here by shlamim? You're darshaning the word im as aim, yet by toda you're not. Oh, the both side to which the Gemara says you're right. Rabbi Elazar has a different issue over here. This is what Rashi already pointed out. Rabbi Elazar would agree that mid da'oraisa, the offspring of shlamim, has the status of shlamim. 100%. And I will say that the truth is already established in last Mishnah. Offspring of shlamim has you could actually offer it up as a carbon. That is the halacha. Rabbi Eliezer is making a gzera d'Rabbanan. What are we concerned about over here, Rabbi saying? We're concerned that people are going to raise entire flocks of shlamim. In other words, that if you can go ahead and utilize the offspring of your shlamim, then what Rabbi is saying? In other words, if I can get benefit from the offspring, sacrificial benefit from the offspring, there's no incentive to offer up my karbanos quickly. Right? There's an incentive, in fact, to go ahead and keep the mother so she could have children. Granted, those children have sacrificial sanctity, but inevitably, especially also, I'm always going to need shlamim. Why am I always going to need shlamim? By every Yom Tiv. Right? By every Yom Tiv, you bring shlamim. So again, this is a great chap. This is an incredible chap. Listen to this. I'm going to go ahead. I'm makdish a mother shlamim. right? The mother shlamim. And I was saying, what happens? Now again, I would say, normally I have to offer up my carbon. I'm saying, great idea. I'm going to hold on to her. She's going to have kids. It's true, the kids have sacrificial sanctity as well. But Rabbi, this is great. As opposed to me going ahead and buying additional shlamim, I could just essentially raise my own shlamim herd. Rabbi Eliezer does not want that. Why doesn't he want that? Because I will say there is a danger in maintaining a sacrificial herd, which is that what? You may come to work them, you may come to interbreed them, right? You may come to shear them. So we don't want people doing that. In general, we don't want you holding on to the It's the same way that there's halacha by tzedakah, that if you set aside tzedakah money, you should disperse it. Right? There's a concept of not holding on to tzedakah money, unless if you're saving for something, of course you can. But in general, there's a halachic conventional wisdom that give out your tzedakah, right? Give out your tzedakah. Why? Because the longer you maintain things, the greater the chances ultimately of them getting mixed up with other things. So Rabbi Elazar is coming along and saying, we don't want you having a shlamim herd. We don't want you having it. Therefore, what's the best way to go ahead and ensure that someone does not have a shlamim herd? Disqualify the offspring. Disqualify the offspring. That de-incentivizes, right, anyone holding on to the mother. So I'll say that's the idea of Shemi Gadol Mehem Adarim Adarim. I'm Rabbi Shmuel Nechleku. Ibaylehu. Heichi Tani. So we'll say, what exactly is the Mishnah saying? Remember again, Shalo Yikravu, Heichi Tani. Lo Nechleku Shalo Yikravu Ela Yikravu. So we'll say, ultimately, again, when the Mishnah said that Rabbi Shimon and that Rabbi Eliezer and the Chachamim only disagree, right? Don't disagree on Vlad. What does it mean they don't disagree? They don't disagree. Lo nechlaku shelo yikravu, ela yikravu. They don't disagree that it should be offered. Al dima lo nechlaku sheyikravu. Or maybe they don't disagree in that what? In that it should be offered. That it shouldn't be offered. Amarava. No. What it sounds like is they don't disagree in the fact that it can be offered. My time, what's the reason? Ad kan lo palag Rabbi Eliezer drabanan ela bevlad, aval bevlad vlad akrai ba'amuhu. So this is very interesting. According to this first approach, even Rabbi Eliezer would agree that the third generation, the grandchild of the original Shalom, can be offered up. Why? Because that's what we would call milsa de lo shchicha. It's uncommon. And because it's uncommon, the Gzir Drabanan does not apply to it. Rabbi Shmuel Levi, on the other hand, says, no. Lo nechlaku sheyikravu ela lo yikravu. No. Even in that case of the grandchild, Rabbi Eliezer would agree you don't offer. Everybody would agree you don't offer it up. My timer. Ad kan lo pligi Rabbanan le Rabbi Eliezer ela bevlad. Aval bevlad vlad mitoch maasa nikares machshavto dilagadol kaboile. So that's according to this approach. Even the Rabbanan, who normally allow you to go ahead and what? And offer up a first generation shlamim, or a second generation, right, the offspring of the shlamim, will agree that I will say if you have in your flock the shlamim, the child of the shlamim, and the grandchild of the shlamim, that it's clear that's what's your intention? What's your intention? You are raising a carbonic flock. If you are raising a carbonic flock, even the Rabbanan will say, we do not want you to do that, and they will answer the offering of the grandchild shlamim. Incredible. Says the Gemara, Tani, Amud Beis, Tani Rabbi Chia, the seal of Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi Chia comes along and he supports Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Rabbi says, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi's model is, even the Rabbanan who agree that you could offer up the offspring of the shlamim would agree with Rabbi Eliezer that you may not offer up the grandchild of the shlamim. Because at that point in time, if you have 3 generations of shlamim offerings, that means your intention is to raise a flock. No one wants you raising a sacrificial flock. To which the Gemara says, Im kasef umakriv, the pasuk says, Im kasef, vlad rishon karav, vlad sheni eno karav. The first offspring of a sacrificial animal can be offered up, but the offspring of the offspring cannot be offered up. Hu krav, ve'in vlad kalak chachim krav. Ultimately, again, it can be offered up, i.e. the shlamim, but this doesn't automatically apply to other karbanos. To which the Gemara says, Vlad demai. Whose Vlad are we answering? Ida ola v'asham. If you want to say it's the offspring of an ola and an asham, it can be. Why? Scharim heim. Both say those are brought from male animals. V'lo b'nei Vlad heim. Ida chatas. If you want to say it's the offspring of a chatas, we already dealt with the offspring of a chatas, which is hilchas al gemirila dilamisa azla. Now, also when it comes to the offspring of a chatas, we've already established that halacha l'maisa, it is left to die. Amar Ravina la'asuye vlad ha'meuseres. Oh, so Ravina says, what is it talking about? The offspring of meiser behema. Vlad ha'meuseres lama likra. Avra mi bechar kagamarla. We'll say ultimately again the offspring of meiser behema. We are, remember again, meiser behema could be male or female, but we already learned ultimately from a gzera shava of avra from bechar that the offspring would be permitted. To which the Gemara says, so kagamarla. Itzrich, I need it. Sagadait chamina in done an efshar mishi efshar. Because I would have thought, Rabbi, what do you mean you're making a limud from Bechar ultimately again to Meiser Behema? Bechar Rabbi doesn't have a case of Vlad because ultimately what? It's a male animal. So I might have thought in done an efshar mishi efshar. You can't learn out a possible case from an impossible case. Therefore, the pasuk comes along and teaches me that halacha l'maisa, the offspring of a Meiser Behema animal, in fact, again, is fit just like its mother. Good. Hey, Rabbi Shmuel Silber. So let's remember again, we had Rabbi Shmuel Silber giving this testimony that they saw what? They saw the offspring of the shlamim being utilized as a shlamim. To which the Gemara says, "Ularava damar kadshim." Okay, so we'll say. So remember again, what we're focusing on now over here is actually not necessarily the carbonic ramifications of their statement, but the fact that they said we used the mother on Pesach. And we used the offspring as a shlamim when? B'chag. They both say again, chag normally, means sukkis. Sukkis is called chag. To which the Gemara says, I don't understand. Ularava damar kadshim, kevan shavar aleim regal echad, kol yom v'yom avra aleim b'bal ta'acher, me'at seres by mechle. But I will say, according to Rava who says, that alocha l'maisa, once, if you have a carbonic animal and one Yom Tiv goes by, you are in violation of delaying your sacrifices. So we'll say if that's the case, if I have the offspring of a shlamim, right, and I used the mother on Pesach, I should what? I should have to bring the offspring when by Shavuos. To which the Gemara says, you're right. Amrav Zvid Mishvei Derava Kigon Shahaya Chola Ba'ad Seres. It's possible that the animal, the offspring, was ill on Shavuos. And because it was ill on Shavuos, therefore what? Therefore, halacha l'maisa, it could not have been brought. So there was a technical issue. Rav Ashi Amar my chag nami diktani chag Shavuos. So Rav Ashi says, no. Chag that Rabbi Papayas mentions is what? Is Shavuos. To which the Gemara says, Ihachi. I'm sorry. V'idach kolechi diktani Pesach tani atzeres. So we'll say the other opinion will say, but one second. Wherever Pesach is mentioned, Shavuos is not normally called chag, rather it's called atzeres. Iachi maya seudase lafuki med rebelazar the amar vlat shlamim lo yikrav shlamim kamasit hu dekarv. So we'll say, to which the Gemara says, at the end of the day, let's not get so involved in actually which Yom Tiv chag was. Maybe chag refers to Shavuos, maybe chag refers to Sukkos, and the reason they couldn't offer it up on Sukkos, on Shavuos, was why? Because the animal was ill. But the truth is, that's not really our area of focus right now. What's our area of focus? The fact that they're giving testimony to Rabbi that the offspring of the shlamim was offered up as what? As a shlam. And Rabbi say that indeed is the halacha l'maisa. That's how you pass. And again, it's not really a surprise because you saw in the first Mishnah, the offspring of shlamim ultimately again is treated like shlamim. Now Rabbi say the one case where everybody will agree with is what? If the offspring has offspring. If you have a third generation shlamim, then everyone agrees that animal may not be utilized. What's the concern over here? If you've got 3 generations of shlamim, then it looks like you are creating a shlamim herd. We don't want any shlamim herds for all of the reasons that we discussed. Therefore, that animal will be asr midirabanan for sacrificial use. Mishnah: Vlad toda utmurasa, Vlad vladan uvladan atzov chaladars hare elu kitodos. So we'll say another interesting Mishnah. What about the offspring of a toda? It's really very interesting. The offspring of a toda, the Temurah of a toda, the offspring of the toda. Essentially, if you're born to a toda, you are a toda. And that goes on and on and on throughout the generations, with one little exception, which is a carbon toda is accompanied by many loaves. The loaf obligation is only an obligation on the original Toda animal, does not devolve upon the other subsequent generations of Todos. Minahani Mili, we don't know this from Temurah. Mao Omer Yakri Venu. When the pasuk says you shall offer it, mafrish Toda va'avda v'ifrish acharis tachta. We'll say, here we go. Let's say I separate that animal as a Toda, and then what happens? I lose the original animal. V'ifrish acharis tachta. I separate a replacement animal. V'nimtzeis harishona. Then I find the first animal. V'harishtain omdos. And we'll say, now I have two Todas in front of me. One, the original Toda. Number two, the replacement Toda. So the Gemara says, Minayin she'ezo she'yirtze yakriv v'lachem. How do I know that I could offer up whichever one I want along with its loaves? Talmud Lomar Toda yakriv. The pasuk says you shall offer the Toda, singular. Yachol te shniya tuna lechem. I would have thought, therefore, when I offer up the second one, it requires loaves as well. Talmud Lomar yakrivenu. Therefore, the pasuk says you shall offer it. Achos v'lo shtayim. Only one animal gets loaves, the second one does not. Minayim the rabos, vlados, temuros, vechalifos. How do I know that the offspring of the Toda, right, the temuras, the exchanges of the Todos, ultimately again have Toda sanctity as well? Talmud Lomar, v'im al Toda. You would have thought that all the subsequent animals require lechem as well. Talmud Lomar, al zevach Toda. Toda tu'una lechem, v'lo v'lada, utmurasa, v'chalifasa tu'una lechem. Ultimately, and we'll say it is only the original Toda which requires loaves. So we'll say it's actually very interesting. You could have an animal that has Toda sanctity and is actually offered up as a carbon Toda, but is not brought with the accompanying loaves. Just like Xeris HaKasav, that is only the original Toda animal that has a loaf obligation. Any other animals, even if vested with Toda sanctity, do not have a loaf obligation. Beautiful. Temurah's Ola. So we'll say, what about the Temurah of an Ola? Right? Temurah's Ola. Vlad Temurasa. The offspring of the Temurah. I will say, now, remember, an Ola is a male animal. An Ola is a male animal. That's why the Mishnah sets this up as, if you have a Temurah of an Ola, or Vlad Temurah, the offspring of the Temurah. Because we'll say, what can you do over here in the Temurah case? You could, if you substitute a female animal for the male animal. So right, so obviously there's no Vlad of the actual Ola itself. But if you substituted, you used a female animal as the Temurah, and then that female Temurah has offspring, then what? Or Vlad Vlada itself Kaladaras Hare Elu Kaola. So I'll say all the subs, right? So the Temurah of an Ola, the offspring of the Temurah of an Ola, for all generations, ultimately what? Have the status of an Ola. And therefore, Utu'unin Hefshit Vinituach Vikalil Liishim. And I will say literally again, they have complete Ola sanctity in that they are treated just like the Ola. It has to be skinned, it has to be cut up into pieces, and it's totally burnt on the Mizbeach, just like a regular Ola is handled. Hamafrish Nekeva Liola, Vial de Zachar. We will say, what happens if someone sets aside, designates a female animal as an Ola. I will say, again, as you just said, an Ola has to be a Zachar. But I designated a female animal as an Ola. What's the halacha? So Amafish Nekeva the Ola, Vial the Zachar, and ultimately again that female gives birth to a male animal. Yira Achi Istaiv, we let the male animal graze until it develops a mum. Vimacher, then let it be sold. Viyavi Bedam of Ola. And you have to use the money to bring an Ola. Rabbi Eliezer Omer says, no, who atzmo yakriv Ola. No, I don't understand. If you designate the female, granted again, the animal has sacrificial sanctity. It's true, it can't be offered up as an Ola because it's a female. But if that female then gives birth to a male, Rabbi Eliezer says, that's an Ola. That's an Ola, and therefore that could be offered up. So we'll say fundamental machlokes. The Chachamim will say, if you designated the female, which of course is not a proper designation, right, but the animal still has sacrificial sanctity, then as a male, that male is set out to graze, let it develop a mum, use the money to buy a real Ola. Rabbi Eliezer says, no need for that. That male animal is an Ola himself. Maishna Reisha Dalo Pligi, or Maishna Sefa de Pligi, to which the Gemara says, why is it ultimately again, Rashi says, Gabe Vlad Tumuros, Ola Delo Pligi Rabbanon, the Bedivra Akol Kamar Hare Elu Vahavin Kalilishim, or Besefa Vlad Ola Pligi Rabbanon. Right, to Huba'atzmolik, Ramos say, we'll stop over here. We'll pick up Emir Hashem with the Gemara tomorrow. Shkoyach.